Okay, so the webinar is starting just right away. Good morning, everybody from Nigeria and around the world. It's a pleasure to have you here. Stay. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's webinar, and it's a continuation of our series from our free webinars to educate and train practitioners in the oil and gas industry, and not just oil and gas industry, and everybody who, of course, will be using the CNG, the CNG gas. And today, our key focus will be on the CNG safety essentials. It's my honor to have the Deputy Director of the Presidential Committee. The Nigerian government set up the initiative on CNG today, Engineer Tosin Koka. And of course, we'll be having Engineer Zayanu Tambari, and even the director himself will be present. We will be talking about the implementation and the safety regulation and regulatory framework of CNG in Nigeria and Africa as it's were. Also today, we already have some of our partners, technical partners here in the industry. Mr. Clinton McGuinness, our technical and project implementation partner. And also we have Mr. Roberto from Ecomotive. And it's our pleasure to also have the president of the Cgas Metano, Italy, who will be taking us on some of the EU regulatory standards and best practices to safety regulations. Yeah. So it's also important that we understand and see the best practices from different perspectives so we can effectively benchmark our approach in Africa. So finally, we also have members of the team, Cgas on board, and we also have our director and our CEO here on board with us. Some of our members are here too. But without further ado, let's just watch. I'd like us to quickly watch a short clip about Cgas quickly, so that we can have an understanding of what we want to do. Please confirm you can see my screen, as I'll be playing with us shortly. Oh, sorry. Apologies. So thank you for watching that short and brief introduction about the company Cgas. But without further ado, I'd like to quickly invite on board our technical partner, Mr. Clinton McGuinness, to give us
sorry, just before you do that, before Clinton comes in, the director of the Presidential Committee on CNG is in transit and is taking time out of no time to just have a brief word for us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, the team, and thanks for the opportunity. I apologize because I'm actually in transit. It's been a busy few days for us touching across the country, and I'm heading back to another destination. So I just wanted to have a quick word before I get on the plane, actually. And I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to speak to you, and for you highlighting this very and all important topic of safety in the operation of the compressed natural gas industry. As you all know, the presidential CNG initiative was paneled by Mr. President in October 1st of last year, when he constituted the 7 steering committee members led by Dr. Zach Adeliji, who also is the chairman of the FRS, but also chairs the steering committee of the CNG, and led to assumption of the management of the day-to-day implementation of the program. But the mandate of this of the presidential CNG initiative is 3. One is to incentivize the adoption of compressed natural gas for mass transit, as well as other alternative forms of energy for transportation, broadly speaking, in Nigeria. The second is the facilitation of funding and closing the financing gap of the infrastructure that exists for both CNG and other alternative forms of energy. And the third is to develop the regulatory framework development for the sector. It is in this third mandate, the regulatory framework development, that the safety issues we are talking about today falls firmly within our purview. And the last, right out of the gate in November, we started working with critical stakeholders in the sector, including the Standards Organization of Nigeria, to develop the industry standards that had been on the shelf prior, almost 5 years, but had not been resolved with respect to compressed natural gas and its applicable areas in the country. As you all know, any country that is going on the road of transitioning from the use of PMS and diesel to natural gas take one of 2 paths. One, either that of retrofit, which requires the conversion of existing vehicles from PMS diesel to hybrid or single-use CNG, and 2, the development of OEM-based vehicles. In this instance, natural gas. But in doing so, in pursuing any of these paths, there are valid safety concerns. There's need for broad-based industry standards to guide the conversion of existing cars. As you know, once you convert an existing car, you are intervening in the mechanical system and the standards that had already been certified from the factory for that vehicle. So we know that for us to do this safely, for us to do this successfully, we needed to do it safely, because one incident will be too much. And that was the reason why for us it was important and sine qua non that a safety standard, uniform safety standard for the industry was being developed. So the Standard Organization of Nigeria, working with us starting in November, bringing together over 23 agencies that were inaugurated by the DGSON in December, inaugurated the committee, a subcommittee that had been working on that. And in March of this year, 86 standards were approved by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment as required by law. SON having the primary standard setting obligation. However, that is just a starting point. SON standard is just a starting point, because every other regulatory agencies within that industry, be the automotive component when it comes to the regulation of the conversion workshops and the training of the technicians, like the Nigerian Auto Design and Development Council, when it comes to the regulation of the labeling, like the Federal Road Safety Commission, when it comes to ensuring technically qualified technicians, like the Nigerian Board of Technical Education, that had to set what we call the accreditation and the occupational standards for that industry. All of these agencies had to now go to work to align with what SON had done. And that's what we began to work with them on from the month of March. We've been working with NEDDC to set the requisite standard for workshops to ensure the accreditation of all conversion workshops in Nigeria. We're working with MBT. Prof and I had very good relationship, and we're working with him to ensure the occupational standards in terms of training standards for technicians that ensure that they are certified before they work in these standardized workshops was also onboarded. In addition to this, we brought the core of this regulatory organization, especially to folks regulating not just the workshops, not just the equipment like SON or the standards, but also the hydrocarbon side, the side that is actually potentially can lead to an immediate accident, like the NMPDRA specifically. And we brought them together under a one-stop shop to ensure that we can monitor the safety practices in the industry, and so that we can intervene and also be able to track back if there are any issues, near misses or close incidents in the sector. And so last week we had our first session in what we now call the Nigerian Gas Vehicle Monitoring System. And the idea of the NGVMS is that we have a one-stop shop where all of these regulatory agencies upload or provide their database. And that right from the point of conversion, or from the point of the first OEM inspection, we can monitor vehicles that are running on natural gas. So it's not just about CNG, it's also about LNG, it's also about LPG. All vehicles running on natural gas will be on this common system, being monitorable. And also we're also ensuring that this system does not constitute a clog in the wheels of investors, such that we now have a one-stop shop compliance mechanism for the industry instead of having to comply with so many different standards. The idea behind the NGVMS is very simple, such that once you have a natural gas vehicle, or you are willing to convert one, at that point, the FRSC will generate a unique labeling, a unique plate numbering system for you. We are currently working with FRSC to determine the specific standards for that. We are exploring having unique plate numbering color code for all natural gas vehicles in Nigeria. That allows us to, out of the gate, to be able to enforce regulations, especially with respect to inspections, and ensuring that only vehicles that are properly converted are refilled at NMPDRA regulated refueling stations. That is the first. Upon FRSC generating the proper labeling for your vehicle and the code for that, it has to have been generated in an accredited workshop, of course, and then it will be worked upon by a technician. But that technician will have to use that certified technician will have to utilize only a proper SON registered part, be it conversion kits or cylinders. Those SON properly registered parts can either be manufacturing country, in which case it will have a proper MANCAP and it will be registered in the MANCAP database, which the NGVMS will have access to. Or it could have been imported, in which case it will have a SONCAP, and the SONCAP database, NGVMS will also be able to reference it. A combination of all of this reference database, from the labeling of FRS to the SONCAP or the MANCAP for SON, and of course, to ensuring that this is being done at an accredited workshop that can only access this database and being done by a certified technician, will ensure that your entire system from end to end is registered properly on NGVMS. And it's only properly registered NGVMS vehicle that the NMPDRA refueling station will then be able to refuel or refill, ensuring we have a closed loop monitoring system that is safe for everybody and ensures zero incidents. Beyond this, FRSC officers and their collaborating agencies, including the police, will be able to ask for requisite inspection and quality documents from users and drivers of gas vehicles as a result of the system. We'll make this system available to them such that they can be able to reference to make sure that they can issue fines, and they can reference vehicles that are not properly registered to be properly registered, as the case may be. This is an opportunity for us to ensure that we maintain a system that is transparent, that is flexible, but also allows for safe practices 100% of the time, and that both the regulators as well as the investors and the users feel safe and also have certainty as well as predictability when it comes to regulation in the sector. This is the opportunity of a lifetime, I believe, for Nigeria. We're a gas country that happens to have oil. It's better for us to run on our gas, which is cleaner. It burns 100%. almost 100%, unlike petrol and diesel, that leaves some very dangerous residue as well as emissions in the air. Natural gas is also cheaper, it's safer, and definitely more reliable. 18% less explosive than petrol, 18 times less explosive than petrol, 8 times less explosive than diesel. It is the truth and the fact that natural gas is a lot safer, lighter than air, it's concealed in bulletproof containers, which ensures that at any point in time when there's an intervention in the system or there's an accident, it rolls out, it dissipates in the air, it's unlikely to be contained in an explosive environment, unlike diesel and petrol. But we also know that it is important that since it is compressed and operating at very high pressure, that we ensure that the practices around conversion, the practices around the inspection of those cylinders and ensuring those cylinders meet the CNG standards and not any other standard is enforced. And that is the reason why we need to ensure 100% safety compliance in the sector, and we are committed to it. As a son of the safety industry myself, my dad being one of the foremost and pioneer safety professionals in Nigeria, I have an obligation to ensure that safety is 100% maintained in the CNG industry as we best it in Nigeria. Thank you very much, and God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for that brief explanation on what the committee is doing and driving forward implementation of safety. Joshua, you can proceed.
Well, a very beautiful and explosive explanation on what the federal government is doing, which is plausible. So quickly, I'll just invite Mr. Clinton to give us his presentation. You're welcome, Mr. Clinton.
Thank you, Joshua. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. If you allow me, just for reiterating what was just said, more or less, we as Vehicle Gas Solutions started in 2011, and we adopted the standards and the safety practice in South Africa, which actually helped us a lot over the period. If we can move to the next slide. Thank you. We are a company that specializes in converting vehicles, not just anything from a 2-cylinder engine up to petrol engines as such. We don't just use the LNG or the LPG fuel. We use other fuels as well, but in this case, we concentrating on the CNG that we are currently have in Nigeria. If you see that Ecomotive Solutions was part of our partnership that we have and the equipment that we use in South Africa, we are also a registered company with our Department of Labor, which is our practice number, as you can see there at the bottom, 2028. And we are very specialized in over this period, in the time that we've taken since 2011 to perfect the safety standards and also to follow the safety standards. It's a point to have a standard. If you don't follow it, you would then have a big problem as such. If we can move to the next slide, please. The advantages of natural gas is to obviously reduce the carbon footprint quite a bit, as the previous speaker said. There's 20 to 25% less greenhouse gases that is admitted to the air. It's a proven technology. 80 countries around the world has been using this since the 1930s, natural gas. Italy in particular has done quite a lot of work in perfecting the safety standards in this type of applications, especially when it comes to the compression of natural gas. The fuel pricing is good, as you heard in the previous speaker said, and there's less carbon deposits that's actually burning into the engine. Let me move to the next slide, please. Joshua. Okay. So when you're filling into the vehicle, it's a similar time that it will take to fill a petrol. Very, very similar. So it's not like it's taking any longer in order to fill the vehicle. The performance is very similar in the engines, so you shouldn't feel much of a difference when you drive on either fuel, fossil fuel as we know it, and or natural gas. It's non-toxic, it's lighter than air, so it escapes very quickly. It's got a very narrow flammability, as what was said before. There's a very safe, proven record that has been set out, not just in the African countries, but all over the world. And then the system can be changed in 10 years' time. So it's the systems are very robust and can run quite a bit. If you allow me, I will give you a short video of some testing of the cylinders, just to give you an idea of how strong these cylinders are.
Natural gas is emerging as a major motor vehicle fuel. It's clean burning, cost effective, and the supply is abundant, especially in North America. And there is a new aluminum composite reinforced cylinder that is lightweight. Another criteria by which these new cylinders are judged is performance under gunfire. How do they hold up under gunfire? And when they're pierced, how do they behave? The answer to the first question is that they are very difficult to pierce, as these first tests demonstrate. The bullets here are standard police issue loads, and each projectile will have a penetration of approximately 50% of the composite thickness, or less than 1/8 of an inch. The distance from the firearm to the cylinder was approximately 25 feet. There was no severe damage to the cylinder, other than damage to the composite matrix. There was no penetration of the metal, and even after this test, the cylinder performed well within its design limits. The cylinder exceeded the minimum burst pressure of 7,500 psi. All cylinders were charged with natural gas. What is happening is the target and the bullet are basically exploding, but there is very, very little damage to the composite. A portion of the composite on the right-hand side of the screen can be seen to flip out and pull back in. However, the depth of the damage to the composite was again less than 1/8 of an inch. The total thickness of the composite and the cylinder wall is over 3/4 of an inch. The weapon used here, the AR-15, is a standard military assault rifle used by both the U.S. and NATO countries. The test involves a direct hit with armor-piercing projectile. The vent down was completely safe. There was no ignition of the natural gas, and it vented down in less than a minute. You may safely conclude from a review of these tests that even under the most severe conditions of high-speed collision, bonfire, dynamite, and gunfire, these new CNG cylinders performed safely and predictably. The service pressure of the cylinders, 3,000 psi, was maintained under extreme abuse. There was no venting of the gas in most cases. The exceptions were the direct penetration gunfire tests, which were of course designed to penetrate the cylinders, while the bonfire tests were designed to specifically check safety valve performance. In all these tests, there is no fragmentation of the cylinders because the composite matrix completely encapsulates the metal shell of the cylinder itself. To the best of our knowledge, there has never been any cylinder ever built which has been subjected to the kinds of tests you've just seen. And once again, the basic reasons for these tests were to establish the total integrity and strength of these CNG fuel cylinders under the worst conditions, as well as the overall safety of natural gas as a vehicular fuel.
So you would agree that the guy was very brave that was actually shooting to the actual cylinders. I definitely wouldn't have tried that, but he was very confident in doing such because of the way the cylinders were actually manufactured and the standards that they used in order to manufacture the cylinders. So in saying all of this, we shouldn't do this at home or try it out because it's already been tested. But important is that safety is always first. So at all stages, please make sure that you are following some sort of safety standard in order to avoid any accidents. If we move to the next slide, this is a perfect example of one of our projects. In the back of the truck, you will see there is a bracket, and in the bracket there's three 200-liter cylinders of the same type of cylinders that's you've seen just been tested. The truck has been in a major accident. Josh, if you could move to the next slide. In head-on, you can see, and the whole freight moved forward, which then hit the cylinder pack and also avoided the actual what's the name to go through the cab. The pack was actually in its way. However, please note that the cylinders were still intact. Nothing exploded. It was very, very strong. The cylinder bracket was designed in order to take an impact in case anything like this should happen. So, very important, not just when it comes to the cylinders, we have to concentrate on the way, the manufacturing of the bracket and how it is installed onto the vehicles, especially as an aftermarket product onto current vehicles in your market space. So moving on. Here's some other projects that we've done. Forklifts from LPG to natural gas. The Toyota plant in South Africa was completely converted from a LPG environment to a natural gas environment. In the left, you will see the test units that was used in order to see if there is a feasibility study or a feasibility study that made sense to change over all the vehicles that was running on the plant. Here are some more examples of vehicles we've done, not just for the taxi industry, but also for security vehicles. If we move on, you will see our OEM approval that we received from Nissan South Africa, which allowed us to actually convert and sell the units brand new off the floor as an OEM vehicle running on either petrol and or gas. And we can move on. Johannesburg City, sorry, Josh. Johannesburg City police also converted all their vehicles. Their vehicles were part of a project that the city used as part of their greening program in Johannesburg. So we can move on. There the vehicles are sitting. Here you'll see also some other vehicles, Hyundais, which were converted, which was also a approval that we received to convert these vehicles that was running for the city. All right. So in this slide, it just demonstrates that if and when we do diesel, I think that this slide just moved itself. Josh, can we just move just one ahead? Okay. If you look at the diesel units that we are actually converting in South Africa, you would see that we just do CNG as such, and also LNG, which you could basically use the same system. It's just the way we store the gas that differs. If you look at the left of the line, you will see there's the LNG cylinder and a heating exchanger. And then on the right-hand side, you will see cylinders that can handle 200, 220 bar pressure, which is then fed into the actual engine. And then through its ECU, we will then be able to cut back the diesel and then allow for the gas to be injected to take up the energy that we've removed out of the diesel. Just to go back to the dyno test. Just one slide back, please, Josh. Yeah. In this, we demonstrate to you that in the red line is where the vehicle is running on the diesel only in the kilowatt output. In the green line, we are demonstrating once we've started cutting the diesel and started putting in gas, that we get the same curve line as what it would have in a normal diesel mode as such. It's very important for us to keep the power exactly the same on diesel engines, as we would not want the gearboxes in the trucks and buses to actually play around in looking for gears while it's looking for power when it's pushing out. So sorry for the slides, it's got a bit mixed up, but moving on to the some more diesel projects that we've done. Josh. Here's the buses for the city that was converted. Also a diesel bus. It was one of our first projects, which led on to the city buying more diesel dual fuel buses, which made sense for them to do so because of the traveling and the amount of filling stations at the time that wasn't available. On the right-hand side, we have dedicated, sorry, Josh, just back. On the right-hand side, we have dedicated vehicles, buses that's running just on gas. And on the top of the roof, you will see where the cylinders were actually stored on top of the roof of the bus. And then we have some Isuzus, which we have tested, and we've had a long test process with Isuzu. And as Isuzu is today, they have approved, if I say today, this year, they have approved us. And if you look at the engineer testing the truck, he's hitting the dashboard to make sure that his equipment's actually working, because he couldn't believe that the diesel was so low.
Unbelievable. Huh?
Yeah. So that's something nice to see, that you can save diesel when you're running on dual fuel, the dual fuel application. Some more city vehicles that we did. some Isuzus that was converted to run on dual fuel. The next slide. Some mix of trucks that we are able to do anything from a Mercedes to a MAN to a UD to a DAF to a Volvo, new Volvos that we've converted. Also the type of Volvo, just one back please. You will see all trucks go onto a dyno to make sure that the vehicles are doing its correct power. As to, if I can draw you back to the previous slide, where we keep the power the same. In this case, next slide please. Another one. We also test LNG. The different types of LNG that we've tested, different size of cylinders we used. To give an idea, the difference between the two, on the left of the slide is a truck with a CNG kit on, and on the right hand side is a truck with an LNG kit. And both of them are running on dual fuel. All right. We're also into the tractors, doing tractors conversions with our partner Ecomotive Solution, which has been testing tractors in dual fuel mode, which is very nice. In South Africa, we have a lot of farming tractors running, and we're venturing into quite a bit of the market space currently with our farmers. We're not just limited to that. We do also generators. Next slide, please, Josh. Generators in dual fuel. The nice part of the generator that we do is that if the gas stops running, it's running on diesel. Unfortunately, we can't run out of diesel and expect it to run on gas. We still need the diesel to ignite the gas, but it's a good way of not changing your whole generator in order to run a gas dedicated generator. So it's quick, it's easy, it's non-abrasive, and yeah, the saving is there. 60 to 70% substitution. In the mining, we also ventured in. We did a CAT 777 water tanker. We removed the engine. We did a proper test on the dyno. On the next slide, you will see that how the testing happened, and then we'll discuss this video afterwards. So in this case, the V12 engine, diesel, running on a dyno. This is the control room, monitoring the engine and also its fuel consumption. Please take a note at the blue line where the vehicle is running 107 liters per hour. When we flick the switch to go to diesel dual fuel, you will see that the diesel that the engine demands has been cut and it's reducing to, and we'll see now, sorry for the bad quality. Oh, something went wrong there. I'm not sure if it was mine that went wrong or. Yeah, you can switch it off. Yeah, it reduced to 50 liters per hour of diesel while it was injecting gas into its actual actually into the engine. Right, so moving on from there. Yeah, the slide is also not very good, but to just sum up what is standing there, we're doing work with Tanzania. We're setting up diesel workshops. We support from South Africa. We have training programs for engineers here in South Africa in order to grow the network. And then the DDF system can be removed and installed to a new truck after the truck has been used for 5 years, 6 years, by refurbishing it and then fitting it to the other truck. And then the old truck can be sold as a normal diesel vehicle, which is also a great part of aftermarket fitment on the vehicles. So I hope I didn't go over my time too much, and thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. Can I then, from here, Joshua, introduce Mr. Roberto Razio, our partner from Italy.
Thank you, Clinton.
Managing Director of Ecomotive Solutions. And yes, once again, thank you, Mr. Roberto. Over to you.
Thank you, Clinton, and thank you for the organizer of this nice meeting, and good morning to all the audience. My role in Ecomotive Solution, that is part of a holding group, is to manage the new technologies that the Ecomotive is promoting and produce since more than 15 years in the field of alternative fuel, and especially in the field of compressed natural gas and liquid natural gas. Our story was born around an idea to bring, first of all, the natural gas on heavy-duty vehicles, because when we started, other technologies was already there to refueling Otto cycle gasoline engine with natural gas, of course. But there was no technologies available for heavy-duty trucks, especially if you was looking to run the trucks both in diesel and in natural gas. So we are designer of systems, so both electronic parts and pneumatic parts are all technology that belongs to our group. So today we are manufacturer of all the system, and we can offer that both for diesel vehicles and gasoline vehicles. So this idea was in 2009 was to apply a solution to those vehicles that was impacting more on the side of emission, on the side of consumption, and was professional vehicles. And that was the reason why we start up with the design of this dual fuel platform that today is still be one of the most popular worldwide. And Clinton, that is our partner for South Africa, and not only, show some of the activities we did there. But generally, worldwide, we realize a lot of activities. So please, you can let the slideshow to proceed without any problem. I don't use it so precisely. So anyway, so that we matured a lot of experience on managing both CNG and LNG, and of course, starting from cars up to heavy-duty trucks, boat, and any other kind of vehicle can be managed with natural gas. And you know, we are an Italian company, so we measure our experience on a base of 80 years of usage of natural gas in our country as a fuel for vehicles. Starting from the end of the Second World War, in Italy, there was already the idea to retrofitting vehicles. And in the last 50 years, this becomes a big business and a big opportunity for reduce costs, change the fuels, and also do some steps for benefiting the environment. So in our proposal today, there is the will of bringing our technologies not only in Europe, not only in South Africa, but also in other regions of Africa. And let me say, the most important point that was already emphasized in this meeting for us is the safety, because safety requirements are those startup knowledge that must be there in any country that has the will of develop a serious and durable market on natural gas. And so what happened in automotive, the big issue is to install on board on a vehicle cylinders, as you already saw in the previous presentation, that could be strong, but then are involved in a heavy duty work, are on the road with a high possibility of accidents. So we must introduce in any country, and this is the direction that we have as Ecomotive. In any country we start dealing, we try to introduce the approach that is a proven approach that is there in Europe, but most of all in Italy, because this was the cradle of natural gas usage for automotive in Europe. And we set up in so long time numbers of directions and regulation that helps anyone to keep safe the work of natural gas on vehicle. So considering that in this huge amount of time where in Italy we are using natural gas, the numbers of accidents are really practically nothing. There is no accident connected to bad qualities of material or a bad usage of natural gas. Of course, there could be some trouble if a vehicle is firing or something like that, but this is usually independent from the natural gas, but because of technical problem connected to the vehicle itself. So what I'm looking to introduce to this audience, it is the idea that especially on the cylinder side, the most important part of the story, it is to choose always high quality product. Because unfortunately, worldwide, there are many producers, and some of them are really offering cheap product, but cheap usually could be also not so nice if the quality is not following. And in order to be sure that the quality is guaranteed, we strongly suggest to follow a standard, any international standard. Europe, there is R110, there is also ISO standards, but anyway, any standard that lets you to evaluate the product and the manufacturer of the product, and according to that, having let me say some rules on inspecting and maintaining the cylinders on board. Also, for example, the mounting of a cylinder could be really a big issue if it's not done properly, because if for any reason a strong deceleration or any impact, let the cylinders to leave his site, this becomes extremely dangerous, because while the cylinder is properly mounted and fitted in the vehicle, usually there is no so high risk. You saw some accident pictures before, and you see that the only part that was safe was the cylinders, of course. So this is on the cylinder side. This is a main issue that can be solved by adapting regulation, by keeping care about the inspection, periodical recursive inspections that must be fixed by some regulation that I understood that also in Nigeria are there. And so it is really nice for guarantee the safety of that idea. Then, of course, when you are managing a natural gas system on board, you have a connection between the cylinders and the engine where the gas is used. So because of that, there are some piping, some junction, some component that are in the system of natural gas. And so the leakage control, it is another important story. So when a professional installer, and I say professional because this is one of the main issue, is the training and let me say also the certification of the shop and the people that are doing the installation of a system. But while they are installing, they need also direction in how to check the leakage and understand if the system is properly mounted on and safe also during the operation. And so this is a preliminary requirement. Then on the vehicle, you must have, of course, on a truck, you see that the cylinders are outside. So there is usually no problem of creating a hazardous area because of the natural gas leakage. But on a car, for example, where the cylinders usually are in the baggage compartment, let me say, it is mandatory to have an approach with a ventilation that must be there. So a way to put the place where the cylinders are living, put in contact with the outside in the way that if a small leakage is there, naturally the gas can go out without creating a hazardous amount. Then another point that is important is also on this components, because together with the cylinders and the piping, there is a lot of components that are included in a kit of conversion. That is a pneumatic component like regulators, cylinders, valves, and so on. And all these components must follow again a regulation. I always speak about the European regulation because with just one regulation, the R110, technically all the components included in a kit of natural gas are ruled with information that guarantee the safety of this system. And so, for example, if we are speaking about the cylinders valves, you need to be sure that the valves that we're using, for example, as a PRD, so a relief device that is able to open in case of overpressure, for example. Then for a pressure regulator that you need to reduce the high pressure that is there in the cylinders to an engine pressure, so a pressure that the engine can digest through a series of injectors. Also there you need a solution that it is guarantee proof for leakage and extremely tight in the regulation capability. Then there is also the electronic parts that are really relevant, because when you activate a natural gas retrofitting, you need also an ECU, a controller that is able to control this bi-fuel or dual fuel strategy on board the vehicle. And the electronic, so it is mandatory to be certified, first of all, according to electromagnetic regulation, because what happened the natural gas could be on board, a leakage could be there. So it is nothing that you can completely make proof. So having you must be sure that the electronic component that will manage the natural gas system will be proof of sparks and ignition point, because you can't you must be sure that no ignition is there in the system that can start a fire on board. Then there are some other parts that are there in the system, and a part of the system is the maintenance of the system. So a regular maintenance of on components, prevent the component of major disease, especially environmental disease. So protect by direct contact with, for example, if you are close to the sea, maybe using component that can be protected by the salt atmosphere. It is good having a protection to direct heating the cylinders, especially in hot climates. All these small features are there to increase a lot the safety on vehicles that are working with natural gas. Then another part of the success of this system could be the certification of the technician that will manage the retrofitting. That is mandatory, but later on Mr. Merigo will inform us about that, because he's really high professional on that side. And then, of course, guarantee a training both to people that will install the system, to people that will take care about the refueling station, and also maybe the driver in some way must have a small training, because driving a car with, for example, natural gas on board means to understanding that this is natural gas. As you know, that you don't have to maybe smoke when you are refueling a gasoline vehicle. Of course, there are some rules that you have to respect also when you are going to refuel a CNG vehicle. So nothing complex, but the approach of having a sort of small training for all the people involved in the supply chain of the natural gas makes all the system to become more proof and more reliable for on the safety side. Then, of course, all of that will be something connected to a regulatory compliance, and this is something that I understood that in your country is going on. So we are available. We are completely available to support in case there is some let me say advice required, some information that we can provide through Mr. Merigo from this Importance Association in Italy, can provide information connected to what was done to make the use of natural gas proof in our country and in other part of the world. So I believe this is more or less what we can offer. Oh, last but not least, the environmental protection include also a way to be sure that a vehicle that is using a natural gas system, it is also properly tuned in order to have a good, let me say, results in the emission performance of a vehicle. Because you know, there are many ways to feed natural gas in a vehicle. A way where you have practically no control on emission, or a way where you can have a balance between the control on emission and the complexity of the system. Because you know, we are working in a very numbers of fields. You see here, this is a train that we runs on natural gas, but then the regulation there are so strict that we have to invent a way to keep under control the emission in any condition, because they are running through cities and so on. But this is a story that makes sense for and really high heavy equipment where also the investment is really high. But you will facing both professional users and private users. And the private users are looking about solutions that they can pay and manage easily. And that is the reason why a balance in the regulation that lets a system to be potentially cheap but proof. It is one of the biggest challenge of a successful project in a country that started the operation with natural gas. So I quit. This is my position on that. We are available for all of you in case you need some more information and so on. And I leave the stage to Mr. Flavio Merigo, the president of Assogas Metano, and the past chairman of one of the ISO committee that manage internationally the safety of alternative fuel, especially natural gas, on vehicles. So, Flavio, the stage is yours, and thank you to all.
Thank you very much, Roberto, for giving me the opportunity to explain a little bit deeper what you have already said, and thank you very much for you all for giving me the opportunity to participate at this webinar. That is very much important. So I have prepared my presentation just to give you an idea about which is the framework of standards and regulation that now we are applying in Italy. Please, next one. Okay, so I think that we all have already an idea that we are moving inside our systems, and the system means that there are a lot of components that can be managed in the same time in order to be efficient and effective. And my presentation wants to give you once again the framework where we are moving in Italy and in Europe. Bear in mind that Italy has got an experience now on 90 years of application of the CNG, LNG technology. Next one, please. So first of all, we have to bear in mind that we are not talking about only about safety, but in Europe there is a directive that is more or less a law, which states that if you are not able to provide and to assure safety, you're liable, and this liability is very much demanding. Next one, please. So I want to show you that the first directive dates in 1985, and this is known as product liability. As I said before, it is very much demanding just because the liability lasts for 10 years, starting from the time in which the product has been put on the market, and the consequence of the product liability are very strong. It means that you can be sent to jail for some cases, and in any case, you have to pay a lot of money in if you are not able to assure the safety. That's the case why most of the European OEMs every year launch some campaigns in order to assure that also small parts of the vehicle are not falling under the product liability law. So this is the statement of that you can find the declaration of conformity that every OEMs is forced to give to the customer, and with the declaration of conformity, the OEM and any other system manufacturer can take the liability according to the law in order to provide what the law writes and force to refer for the conformity. So next one, please. And that's what is written in the product liability, because the product liability covers the same product. If you see the definition, this definition is very, very much demanding, just because same product is any product which normal or reasonable foreseeable condition of use. Including also the maintenance, installation, and so on. Then, and this product, according to the normal or reasonable foreseeable condition of use, shall maintain safety all in all life of the product. And once again, that starts from the moment in which this product is put on the market. And that's why you find a lot of products that are CE market, and the CE market is the declaration made by the producer, the manufacturer, that the product that you are buying will comply with the product liability law and all the regulation that cover the safety and helpful use of that product. So next one, please. No, next one. Yeah. Okay, fine. So I've been saying that now we come directly in the framework of the standardization regulation. So I have put here the sketch of the how ISO TC22 subcommittee 41 works. So sorry to bother you. I'm forced now to give you some reference to the technical committee, and I will give you a number of references to standard, and that's exactly where we are moving. This is the world in which we are moving, and I have no other chance to cite standards, number, and bodies that has released these standards. So ISO, you know, is an international standard organization. TC means a technical committee. That's the number of the technical committee. SC means a subcommittee. This is the technical committee that have a chair till the end of 2023. And as you can see, there are many working groups working and active inside the technical committee 22. I would like to draw your attention mainly on the working group 3, fuel system components and refueling connectors for vehicles propelled by gaseous fuel. Working group 4, vehicle propelled by LNG fuel system components and refueling connectors. Again, working group 5, fuel system components and refueling connector for vehicle propelled by gaseous, hydrogen, or by blends of hydrogen and natural gas. Working group 6, fuel system component refueling connector for vehicle propelled by liquefied petroleum gas. And once more, that is working group 9, training, competence, and conformity assessment. Let me say that I have been working in this field the last 30 years, and I drafted the first ISO series 15500 dealing with the components of CNG. I drafted that 30 years ago. So you can imagine that these technical standards have been revised and many times in order to maintain the reflection of the state of the art of the industry. And these standards has been taken as a base for the regulation, of which I will talk later. And the regulation is mandatory. So another work that we are conducting inside the subcommittee 41 is the they work in order to prepare all the standards which can cover the use of blended fuel. In this case, the blended fuel is a mixed fuel of hydrogen and CNG, and on which Commodity Solution is very active. That is, they are conducting a very interesting test campaign, and we are taking this experience as the base for the standardization. Another field of activity is related to the small craft and the use of gaseous fuel, mainly CNG and LNG in small craft, as well as in bigger ships. Sorry. Another thing that on which I want to draw your attention is what is in the right part of the figure. These are all the technical committee that are active on the fuel system that we have seen previously. Mainly technical committee 58 dealing with all gas cylinders of any kind. And, the technical committee 70 internal combustion engines. Again, technical committee 1 and 3 natural gas, dealing with the quality and the specification of the gas that is used as a fuel for engines. Technical committee 17 that you have already seen before is dealing with all the hydrogen technologies. ISO TC 220 that is dealing with a cryogenic vessel, TC 188, a small craft that I mentioned before, ISO TC 340 dealing with a natural gas fueling station, as well as CEN technical committee to seek. CEN means the committee, European standardization committee that is working in connection with ISO. And the technical committee 26 is dealing with the CNG vehicle use and operation, mainly, of course, taking into consideration all the directives that are now active in Europe. I will show you later, which is my activity inside this technical committee, just to give you an idea about which is my privileged point of observation about what happened in the technology and the standardization as well. So now I would like to draw your attention once more on the technical committee 340 dealing with the natural gas filling station, and I'm working in as a convener of the working group 1, and now we are amending the standard 16923 that is dealing with the CNG fueling station. And once more, I would like to draw your attention on another standard, is EN, European Standard 13423, that covers the natural gas vehicle requirement for NGV workshop and the management of CNG vehicles. So next one, please. Next one, thank you. Okay, so briefly now I'll show you which is my activity inside these reference standards for the CNG world. As I mentioned, in subcommittee 41, I am the project leader in working group 9. If you remember, group 9 is dealing with the training and the competence. I have already drafted, and these are already published, 2 standards. One is dealing with the training on NGV personnel, and on which I will detail something later. And the second is the certification of competence. This standard has been done and published recently, and it is a very, very new and let me say, effective standard, just because for this standard, I have collaborated with a CASCO committee. CASCO is Conformity Assessment Committee of ISO, and this standard is mm, a certification scheme for all the technicians that are involved in the use of natural gas vehicles. What is a certification scheme? Is a standardization of the method by which a technician can be assessed, can be certified by a certification body. The good thing is that this kind of certification being conducted against a standard that has been recognized by ISO means that the competent these technicians can be recognized worldwide. You don't need to change and to apply for a national recognition just because the standard cover all the activities done in this field in worldwide. Once again, I have already cited the standard 13423 that is in a European standard, but that is very much important just because this standard covers all the requirements for NGV workshop and how to manage the workshops and other activities that are dealing with the management of natural gas vehicle. I'm also working inside TC28. You remember is the technical committee dealing with the cylinders, just because now we are revising the standard 19068, very much important, just because this standard covers the inspection of the cylinder installation and requalification of high pressure cylinders of the onboard storage of natural gas for automatic vehicles. Roberto has already cited this point. So the qualification of cylinder is very much important. And now in Italy, we are changing some laws and now using the fact that the technician are certified by a certification body according to international standard, most of the activity that previously were covered by the Ministry of Transport are given now to this kind of people certified and assumed as competent. And you know that that has been already said, but let me say once more, from the point of view of safety of CNG and LNG, we can say that thanks to the fact that we have all standards, that the standard all are revised yearly, and that they are applied the last 30 years. Now we can say that the system is very, very, very safe. The problem is that we have to maintain safety inside the system by means of very competent person dealing and applying the standards. Next one, please. Well, just to give you a further idea of what I have already said, and I'm the convener of the working group 1 natural gas fueling station vehicles. Now we have provided a very deep revision of ISO 16923. We have covered many items and developed many other items that were already inside, but not so much developed. Just these days, I'm sending to the working group member the last revision of the standards. Just to give you an idea, it's a standard that's now consists in 45 pages of requirements, and then we are also working with the alternative fuel maritime sector trying to draft standards for application of CNG and LNG in this kind of let me say vehicle, because vehicle means also boats and ships in the definition ISO. And in this case, there is one standard is already done, is ISO 10665 that will be published very soon, and this means that we have already a standard covering also the use CNG and LNG in the maritime sector. So next one, please. I'm about to finish. So now I would like to once again to talk about the system and the chain that join all the parts of the system. And as usual, we can measure the power of the chain once that we have defined which is the weakest link of the chain, and which is the critical change component. Let's try to understand which is the answer to this question. So one, please, the next one. Next one, please. Okay. Yeah, that's the problem, the personal training. So as already mentioned by Roberto, we have seen in many countries that when a new market on CNG starts, there are many operators that are looking for very cheap components and very cheap kits. And the more the market develop, the more there are a lot of people with a absolute lack of competence looking for very cheap component. It's very dangerous, because it's a sort of break to the development of the market, just because once that the people perceive that the system is not safe, they are no more interested in using CNG vehicles. For this reason, next one, please. For the reason we have to avoid in any case that these people can compromise the development of the market. And for the reason, as I said before, we have the standard to apply. We have already checked this. In Italy, we have around 800 technicians that are certified, and now we are starting a new campaign in order to qualify much more technician and workshops. And the next one, and then the last one. So I finish it to bother you. This is the scheme that has been taken as the base for the development of the two standards 23684 and 24671. The first one dealing with the training and qualification of the people, and the second is dealing with the qualification certification. Just because, as you can see, we have different level of competence that are required. And doing that, we have applied once more a directive given by the European Community in order to let the people, that the competence of the people can be recognized worldwide, mainly in the European states. For the reason we have defined which kind of competence is required to the technical that are dealing with the NGVs. As you can see, we have defined two figures inside the fueling station: the technical manager and the operator. The operator can be trained by the technical manager, but the technical manager shall be qualified and after a training course recognized by a certification body. And once that he has received this qualification, he can train the operator at the fueling station, but of course take reliability for everything that happens inside the fueling station. The leakest, the biggest problem in the chain, in the link, is as we have seen, is the workshop, and for the reason we cannot permit that inside the workshop can operate anyone who hasn't enough competence and qualification in order to manage the NGVs. Just because, as we have already seen, cylinders, components, and installation are very safe just because are covered by a lot of standards, and for the reason we cannot permit that a non-competent person can compromise the safety that we have achieved by the use of standards. And for the reason, the technical manager shall be certified according to the international standards that we have already seen, and this certification shall be achieved after a qualification exam under the control of certified body, and this certified body is written the standard shall also show its competence in the field of use of natural gas as a fuel for the vehicles. So that's all. Help of having been able to give you a clear idea about the qualification and regulation framework in which we are moving in Europe. And thanks again for giving me this opportunity.
Yes, been an explosive session so far. Thank you very much, President. And if you have questions, a quick one. If you have questions, can you please drop them in the question and answer box? They will be attended to at an appropriate time. Quickly, let me call on board one of the directors in the Presidential Committee for CNG to give us the regulatory framework that has been put in place by the committee. The person of Engineer Sambari. So welcome, sir. You can take it
up. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir. Very clearly, sir.
Okay. So good morning, all. It's my pleasure to be here this morning. My name is Engineer Zayanu Tambari, and I'm the coordinator in charge of regulatory compliance and facilitation with the Presidential CNG initiative. Since the initiative came on board, which you must have listened to my director's presentation, a lot of efforts have been put in place to streamline and catalyze the CNG adoption for transportation in Nigeria. Now, as many of you know, CNG is not new in Nigeria, but just that the level of adoption has been slow for transportation due to a number of factors. And now government, in its wisdom, decided to put in place an initiative to rally all the critical components, all the critical stakeholders, both in the private sector and the public sector to enable the kind of momentum and push that will see a rapid adoption of CNG in Nigeria. Now, that initiative have a number of components as a way of summary. The first is CNG supply, then CNG demand, then CNG infrastructure, and then finally CNG regulation and standards. So my brief will be on the CNG standards and regulations and guidelines and other necessary regulatory instruments. Now, as many of you also know, and taking a cue from the previous presentation, regulation is the business primary responsibility of government, which it exercises through statutory agencies. Agencies that have been established by law to handle one or more aspects of any industry. In Nigeria today, we have statutory bodies established by law to provide one role or the other in regulations and guidelines and in standards. Now, let us start with the overall standards body in Nigeria. There is a government agency in Nigeria called the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON. And the Standards Organization of Nigeria is statutorily set up to set all standards in all products and facilities and equipment that are either manufactured in Nigeria or that are imported into Nigeria. So they exercise that mandate through oversight, through other instruments like visitations, like accreditations, certifications, and any other tool that is required to ensure that only equipment, products, and services of the approved standards available utilized in Nigeria. Now, for CNG, the role of the Standards Organization of Nigeria is to ensure that all CNG equipment, all CNG facilities, all CNG products in Nigeria that are manufactured in Nigeria or are imported into Nigeria are in line with the issued CNG standards. So that is one. The second statutory agency I would like to speak about is the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Now, CNG is a petroleum product, and because it is a petroleum product, in Nigeria there are statutory bodies, regulatory bodies empowered to regulate the use, the installation, the construction, the design, and the operation of all facilities that utilize oil and gas facilities. And these regulators are the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Now, the Upstream Commission is dealing with all issues around exploration and production of oil and gas. So the production of petroleum, either in the form of oil or in the form of gas, is regulated by NUPRC. While the NMDPRA, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, regulates petroleum and gas activities in the midstream and downstream sectors. The midstream sectors deal with processing, storage, and transportation, while the downstream sector deals with retail and use of petroleum products. So these statutory agencies are empowered by law to issue guidelines, directives, operating manuals, standard operating procedures, guidelines, and directives that are necessary to ensure safe, effective utilization of petroleum products, either in the form of oil or in the form of gas. And CNG, which is a petroleum product, is also covered by these statutory bodies. The next statutory body I wish to speak about is the NADDC, the Nigerian Automotive Design and Development Council. The Nigerian Automotive Design and Development Council is also another statutory agency of government that deals with all issues around automobiles. That is everything concerning vehicles, their design, their construction, their maintenance, uh, and their manufacturing in Nigeria or those that are imported. So now CNG for transportation, because it is going to be utilized by vehicles, also have something to do with the Nigerian Automotive Design and Development Council. So the NADC issues certification, uh, issues guidelines, and regulate the operations of conversion centers and also manufacturing or assembly of vehicles that uses CNG. So if you are gonna convert your vehicle to use CNG, you need to take it to a workshop that will now carry out that conversion. Now it is the responsibility of the NADDC to ensure that all those workshops are set up in accordance with the provisions of the law, and all technicians that that are going to operate in that workshop are duly certified and have been trained in accordance with the minimum training requirements as prescribed by another statutory body called the National Board for Technical Education, the NBTE. The NBTE sets the minimum requirements for training for all technical requirements, both in the skilled and semi-skilled and non-skilled sectors of the Nigerian economy. And then the next statutory body I wish to speak about is the Federal Road Safety Corporation of Nigeria. Many of you know the activities of Road Safety Corporation. They ensure that roads that ply our roads do so in a safe and responsible manner by controlling the speeds at which vehicles move on our roads, and also to ensure the general conditions of these vehicles to ensure that they are safe both for the drivers and for the other road users. Now, what is the role of PCNGI in all this regulatory environment with the number of agencies involved in different aspects of safety regulation in the Nigerian space? So the PCNGI is basically a coordinating entity that has brought now all these bodies together under a framework, a regulatory framework under the Presidential CNG Initiative, where all these agencies have nominated representatives, and the PCNGI now is actively working with these agencies, uh, supporting them in many respects to ensure that all their statutory responsibilities that affect CNG adoption in Nigeria is being dealt with as quickly, as effectively, as efficiently as possible. From the time we commenced this work sometime in September last year to date, a lot has been achieved in harmonizing the regulatory environment and in ensuring that all the necessary regulatory tools are in place to support the CNG sector. The Standards Organization of Nigeria, working together with other statutory bodies, have issued over 80 standards earlier in the year to guide all aspects of CNG operations in Nigeria. The Nigerian Automotive Design and Development Council have also developed and issued the guidelines for the accreditation of CNG conversion centers, CNG installation in vehicle manufacturing and assembly, and all this is available for people who want to have access and convert their vehicle, set up conversion centers for the conversion of vehicles. The, the NMDPIA, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, in its own mandate also have set up a special desk to fast track and work with all applicants on CNG to ensure that the necessary approval gates are achieved in collaboration with other statutory bodies. Basically, the NMDPRA also have regulatory oversight on pricing of gas. And to that effect, the NMDPRA have issued also a revised gas price for CNG transportation, which is a reduction from the commercial pricing that is presently available. So this is also to incentivize the adoption of CNG in Nigeria. The Road Safety Co is also working very closely with the Pi-CNG and NADDC to release, some numbering template or recognition or identification that will be issued to all vehicles that have been converted to use CNG or that have been manufactured to use CNG in Nigeria. And the National Board for Technical Education is also in the mix and is working very closely with Pi-CNG to ensure that the right curricula is in place. And in fact, that curricula has already been issued and has been communicated to relevant bodies and will be used as a template, as a guide. So just last week, the Presidential CNG Initiative, also working with all the statutory bodies, held a co-creation workshop of what we are going to call the NGVMS, the Nigerian Gas Vehicle Monitoring System. So this gas vehicle monitoring system is an end-to-end system that ensures that there is a comprehensive oversight on the entire CNG for transportation framework in Nigeria. From the time you walk into a conversion center, convert your vehicle, it will be captured on this system. All kits, conversion kits, CNG cylinders, and other equipment for CNG will also be captured on this platform. Then all retail outlets that dispense CNG in Nigeria that are approved by the regulator will also be captured on this platform, so that through the use of this platform, you will not be able to buy gas in any retail station in Nigeria if that vehicle is not converted in an accredited conversion center, and if the conversion kits that are used for that conversion are not duly certified by the relevant body. And then this NGVMS also have the ability to do a handshake with other service providers, like financial service providers, like insurance service providers, so that through the instrumentality of the NGVMS, you can now bring in some financial products to support the adoption of CNG in Nigeria. So this is an ongoing work. We have our legs and our hands deeply involved in it, and we are working collaboratively with all relevant statutory bodies and other concerned stakeholders to ensure that any regulatory gap is being addressed going forward. So thank you very much for this presentation, for this opportunity to make this presentation. Thank you. And I would like to take questions because I have another meeting that is lined up in another 15 minutes. So if there are questions for me, I will be pleased to take the questions before I join the other meeting. Thank you very much, please.
All right, sir. Thank you all so very much. Thank you so much, Engineer Tambari. Thank you, Mr. Roberto. Thank you, President Flavio, and Engineer Clinton. Thank you so very much. We've truly had an amazing and insightful time. So we'll take questions quickly, and a quick run through the question and answer segment. I can see that Mr. Roberto has been doing justice to a lot of the questions. So we have most of the questions already taken care of. So I just want to say quickly that we celebrate all our participants, but then you would not have the opportunity to speak live on this particular webinar. It's open to only the panelists. So if you have any questions, please type it out in the question and answer chat box, and we'll take it very quickly. But before we take the question, I would like to go on to the next segment, which is a brief introduction on about Connect Energy Group. So welcome to CGASENERGY Group. Welcome to Connect Energy Group. Yes. So CGASENERGY is an energy company with extensive experience within the energy and energy logistics sector. We provide a multidisciplinary service portfolio to support a diverse range of customers by using our network and infrastructures efficiently, cost-effectively, safely, and responsibly. So our services include CNG gas distribution, CNG auto gas conversion, construction of CNG filling stations, procurement of CNG skids and trailers, procurement and installation of CNG mobile filling units, trainings, safety training, just like this one that we are in presently, and then we've had a couple of previous ones that we have done, and we have more to come in the nearest future. So we also provide technical support and consultancy. Thank you so very much. Next slide, please. So this is just a brief overview of some of the things we do. So we also provide B2B sales, services, procurement, and the like. We have strategic partnership with our partners all across Africa, our partners all across Europe. And as you can see, we have about 3 of our partners joining us on this particular webinar. So next slide, please. Our vision, our mission, our core values. I'll just go straight to our core values, which is excellence, innovation, efficiency, and safety, which is why we're laying a huge emphasis on safety in regards to compressed energy gas. Like this. So if you want to, I can see that a lot of persons have asked questions relating to further training, questions relating to conversion, and also you can visit us in any of our offices. We have our head office at 20 Ugumodede Street, Allen Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos. Our Nigerian Conversion Center is beside Covenant University, Ota, Ogun State. You can send an email to any of the above listed emails or the info@cgasenergy.com. You can send, you can call us or send a WhatsApp chat to 0806 272762. Thank you all so very much. So we'll just do a quick run through to the other slides, then we'll take the questions. So just because Mr. Tambari will be leaving us very soon, so I think I would start the questions from him. I think we have a particular question that's direct. Please I'm picking on you. Oh, wow. Okay. So a lot of questions have been coming when I was presenting. I'm sure I saw a particular question that was targeted to the okay. Let's just go to the I know that engineer Michael already answered some of the questions before he left, but I just want you to help us do a brief recap on what the Nigerian regulatory body is doing in regards to the natural gas vehicle monitoring system that was recently inaugurated. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I have read through most of the questions, and I have seen 1 or 2 that are concerned to my presentation, which is a regulatory framework. So if you want to set up a conversion center, you need to go to the website of the Nigerian Automotive Design and Development Council. Just click Nigerian Automotive Design and Development Council. So their web page will come up, and then you navigate to the right window for. If you are having any challenge or difficulty, you can also contact the Presidential CNG Initiative. We can also facilitate any contact or interface with any of the regulatory agencies under our purview. So our office is at the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, Central Business District in Abuja, first floor, Western Wing. You can also get across to us through our own website. Now, someone asks, what are the necessary precautions to have in mind as a CNG user? You need to ensure that the necessary conversion is done by a professional at the appropriate conversion center. And then you need to ensure that you check from time to time if there are any issues around connection points, which is not likely, but just in case. If you observe anything, you also quickly go to the nearest conversion center to have a technician to check. The last is all of those who need any support, they can also contact the consultant.
His network is okay. Let me just take. All right. So I think Engineer Tambari's network is down. So I'll just take it from where he stopped. This I know I'm not sure. I didn't want to take the question before, but since you already he started answering, so I'll just take it. But then I would like to say that we don't really appreciate that we have an anonymous attendee on the call, because there is a reason why the registration link was sent, so that we can have full details, because we're talking about safety, so it's important for us to maintain high standard. So then I just want to say that he asked about what are the main management precautions to put in place before using a CNG, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of natural gas. I believe that has been answered actually. Mr. Roberto spoke extensively on it, same as Mr. Clinton. So thank you very much for your question. So I'll go to Mr. Mohammed Shaibu. He said he has been in the CNG conversion drill field. He has converted. Okay, so okay, for your certification, so we can help you get certified. So you might want to reach out to us outside of this training, because we need to have evidences that you have done what you've done. Then you still need to undergo training before you can get certified. So you can reach out to us on info@cgasenergy.com. Then we'll take it up from there. So Mr. Emmanuel, okay, yes, Mr. Engineer Tambari has already answered the question for Mr. Emmanuel Agbaji. You talked about your interest in setting up a center for conversion and retail of CNG for vehicles. So, but then we are willing to assist you in that process as well. We do B2B sales of CNG equipment, and which involves the CNG cylinders, the skids, and the likes. And our partners are involved in a number of all the other things that are needed. So you can reach out to us, let us know what you need, and we'll provide the services. And in regards to the Center for Conversion, you can reach out to us as well if you need any help on the blueprints, then we can look at it together. So we'll go further to Abimbola James Ajayi. Okay, Mr. Roberto answered. Your question is personal, so you need to reach out to us after the call so that we can speak about it and go forward. So Mr. Drew said, is there a platform for training, installation, and assembling of? Yes, there is a platform. This is one of the platforms. Yes, so we have a platform for training on CNG, and we also have other lined up trainings that would be coming in the nearest future. So you might want to sit close to us. Then you might want to send a message as well, so that we know the exact tailored approach that we would use for you, so that moving forward we can work around it. So Mr. Jonathan, he said he asked the questions about plans and arrangement to encourage local production of CNG gas conversion kits. Okay, yes. So I said earlier that we do CNG kits procurement and services. So we have a number of kits available in Nigeria, and even if we don't have available, we can always get from our technical partners. So let us know the ones that you are interested in, then would be willing and will be glad to offer services to you as well. Thank you so very much. Mr. Mojupe Ola Obidenyin said, can the slides or the recording of this webinar be sent to our emails? Okay, so because the slides are intellectual properties, and you know, we have to maintain high standards in everything we do. So I cannot ascertain that the slides will be sent. Just like I said, they are intellectual properties of us, of our technical partners. So we need to go to discuss about it. So, but the recording of this webinar, I'm not certain about that. Let's leave the question hanging. So if there is an answer to it before the end of the session, then I'll come back and answer that. Thank you very much for your question. Okay, so we have a question. Okay, yes. So when we started the registration, we encouraged participants to ask questions in advance. So we had a number of questions sent to the email. So one that struck for us was, what's the plan of federal government to encourage people to convert their vehicles to CNG, bearing in mind the high cost in conversion because of high cost of conversion kits, especially in this ash economy? I believe this question is targeted to Engineer Tambari. Okay, so because
Can you take the question?
Okay.
Can you take the question?
Okay. So the question says, what is the plan of the federal government to encourage people to convert their vehicles to CNG, bearing in mind the high cost in conversion because of high cost of conversion kits, especially in this ash economy?
Yes, there are plans to subsidize the cost of CNG by about 50%. That's CNG conversion. We have procured some units, but I think the first priority is the transportation sector. Those who work in the transportation sector, are you with me? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir. Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so the transportation sector will be given priority, then other Nigerians will be given priority. But let us be clear, it is not the job of government to provide the CNG conversion for all Nigerians. No, the role of government is to incentivize this sector. And if you look at the cost savings, it was mentioned that CNG costs a little less than 40% of the cost to fuel a vehicle on PMS. So if you look at the economics of it, if you convert your vehicle, the savings you will get from using CNG will be more than compensated than if you continue to buy PMS. So the entry cost is high, but in the long run, or even in a very short, not even long run, in a short to medium run, you will recover that cost and continue to enjoy the advantages of CNG. It is safer, it is cheaper, and the impact on the environment, and also the engine of the car lasts longer. And even the engine oil that you need to service your car, you will not go to do that servicing as frequent because the deposition of carbon on your engine itself is less. So if now you go to service your vehicle 2 or 3 times in a year with a CNG powering your engine, maybe you just do it once in a year. So there are clear economic incentives for you to even on your own convert your vehicle and recover that entry cost, that sunken cost in a short run. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, I thank you so very much. So because of our time, we'll quickly run through. Most of the questions have been answered before. So I'll just take let me just go down. We have most of the questions have been answered. Okay, so Mr. Tomi Efe said, are there mobile truck delivery systems to end user? Yes. Here at CGASENERGY, we have what we called the CGASENERGY mobile filling units. The prototypes are already here in Nigeria, and we are currently looking at expanding so that CNG end users can have access to CNG as we move further and expand across the country. So you can reach out to us on that if you are willing to get more information concerning that. Thank you also very much. So Mr. Domingo Edet said, is there any certificates? Yes, you'll be getting a certificate of attendance for this particular webinar, so which will be sent to your email after the training. Thank you so very much. So concerning the question that was asked regarding the training, the recording, yes, the recording will be made available on our YouTube platform. So you can go to at cgasenergy.com, at CGASENERGY, yes, at CGASENERGY on YouTube to access the training recording, which will be uploaded in a matter of days. Also, so there's a last question. Okay, so Mr. Yang said, is it possible to incorporate the system CNG gadgets into an existing engine like generator, tractors, and trucks that are not originally designed with CNG? So for this question, I would like to invite both Mr. Roberto and Mr. Clinton. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, of course, it is possible to use CNG on any kind of vehicle. And as I told you, we have a long experience on managing CNG on also professional vehicles, off-road vehicles, tractors, and generators. Where the engine, the original engine is diesel, we can't feed the engine directly with natural gas. We needed to use a strategy. The name of this strategy is dual fuel, where we use a mix of air and CNG that it is ignited by a small quantity of diesel. So the dual fuel system controls, first of all, the amount of diesel injected, and then substitute the amount of diesel that will be put off with the same energy in natural gas, in CNG. And so in that way, the engines still have the same performance, but is able to reduce the use of diesel up to 50, 60% for a generator, and between 30 to 40% for a standard truck or a light vehicle. But if we are speaking about a gasoline engine, then the gasoline engine is as sparks. It is a spark-ignited engine. So because there are sparks, we can also run a gasoline engine on full natural gas, just with adding a control kit and the cylinders on board. So there are two technologies according if your starting is on diesel or on natural gas. Then on natural gas, of course, you can also run an existing diesel engine to full natural gas, but that required a strong development of a transformation of the engine, mechanical transformation of the engine, that makes that engine to don't be able to run anymore with diesel. So in a transition moment where the infrastructure is growing, we strongly suggest to use the dual fuel solution that, of course, don't run you at the full CNG, but let you to have a backup in diesel. So while the CNG is over, or if you are not able to reach a station with a dual fuel, you are always in operation because you can still working with diesel. In a full gas conversion, then the only fuel you have at your disposal, for example, there are buses or trucks that could be converted to full gas, but then they will be no longer able to use diesel. So it is a balance that you have to thinking about before doing any step. And we strongly suggest the use of an hybrid solution like a dual fuel for heavy duty and diesel, and B-fuel for gasoline engines.
Okay, yes, thank you very much, Mr. Roberto. So, Mr. Clinton, sir.
Sorry, I won't be able to say any more to what Mr. Roberto said. He explained it so nicely, so I think we can leave it there. Thank you, Sianka.
Right, sir. So thank you so very much. So I just want to say again, because I can see a number of reoccurring questions that are pertaining to training, to safety trainings. So this is a continuation of our training series. We've had 4 in the past, and we have a lot of trainings lined up in the nearest future. So you can reach out to info@cgasenergy.com or follow Cgas Energy on across all the platforms. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are on YouTube. We are on all available platforms to know the next event that we will be hosting. And then specialized trainings are available. So if you want a tailored training that is peculiar to you or your organization, please, you can reach out to us as well like that. Then we can look at how we would have a tailored training for you and your company. So I want to say again that we offer consultancy services. So in case you need help, in case you need guidance in creating your conversion centers, in case you need help in getting certifications, Cgas and our technical partners would be available. So once you reach out to us, then we would direct you to the appropriate sources where you need to go about your certification. Then for your conversion and for the procurement of your CNG equipment and the CNG kits, you can reach out to us on that as well. Then for further questions, because I know that a lot of persons will still have questions. And so if you have questions, you can respond to any of the mails that has been sent to you. So you can respond, or you send a new mail to info@cgasenergy.com. So if you want to direct any questions to any of our technical partners, would reach out to them and get back to you as well. So thank you all so very much. I believe it has been an eventful day. It has been an insightful day, and I am absolutely certain that everyone is way better than how we came. So it has been insightful. It has been awesome. So Mr. Flavio, thank you so very much for joining us. We know
It
that
has
your
been a
time
pleasure.
is,
It's been a pleasure.
yes.
Thank you very much
So
to
thank
you.
you very much, sir. So I just want to say, do you want to say something? Do you have a closing remark for us before we go?
I will leave in me this honor to give the closing remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
So
sir.
let me say that, first of all, let me congratulate just because what we are doing is exactly what it shall be done. In order to be sure that the system is under control and the people that works outside the control cannot be allowed to do that. That's very much important. So we have seen in our 90 years of experience that the regulation and the standardization are very much mandatory if we want to develop this kind of sector. So it seems to me that you are doing the right things, you are going in the right way, and we have a clear ideas about it shall be done in order to develop this market. And let me say, go ahead and keep your regulation even more mandatory, just because the competence of the people that are involved in the chain is very much important. In this case, once that you are able to assure safety, for sure you can develop a lot the sector, and the people will be very much happy about the use of this kind of fuel. Just because you have already said that it's safe, it's cheap, technology is already available, and once that you are able to maintain safety, you have completed the chain. So I think that there is nothing else to say, just because you are in the right process, and what we can do in order to help you. Okay, let's ask us, and we will do our best in order to help your effort. Thanks again, and thank you very much for all the participants, and for having given me this opportunity.
Oh wow, thank you so very much, sir. We celebrate you greatly. Special regards to Mr. Roberto and Mr. Clinton. Thank you so very much. Today has been amazing. And we at CGASENERGY, we are glad that you are doing this with us, and we are very honored. We have three powerful companies coming together. This is awesome to become one, and we are grateful. So we look forward to doing this sooner than later. So thank you all very much. I guess it's safe to call it a day. So special regards to our board of directors, most especially our CEO who is here on the call. Okay, yes. Special regards to our board of directors that are here on the call. Most of them are joined as participants, to our CEO. And we want to say a very big thank you to the Presidential CNG initiative. Thank you so much for being a part of this, because it's amazing what the regulatory body has been doing to ensure CNG safety compliance in Nigeria. So we thank you so very much. Thank you to Mr. Michael, the director, to the deputy director in absentia. They were part of this and they are gone because they have other engagements to attend. So thank you so much for staying to the end of the program, Engineer Tambari. So we look forward to further engagements as regards CNG safety in Nigeria and across Africa and the rest of the world. So thank you also very much. I wish us all a great day ahead.
Thank you also, Bianca. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Send.